It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Another exciting show for you guys today. Have you ever wondered when the best time to list your home is? I'm going to tell you the exact day and time you should list your home for sale and why. We're also going to talk about the process of selling your home and buying another at the same time, how home sale contingencies work, and what you should know as a buyer and as a seller if you're going to go through that process. We're also going to discuss the current state of the real estate market here in Charleston, South Carolina, what you need to know if you're planning on buying or selling a home here in the near future. Now, if this is your first time tuning into this show is designed to help you better understand the current state of the real estate market, as well as help you become more educated in the process of buying, selling, and investing in real estate. My name is Brian Beatty. I've been doing this show for about 5 years now. I've been selling real estate for 12 years here in Charleston. My team and I have represented over 1,000 buyers and sellers for past 12 years. We've done about $500 million worth of real estate volume here in the market. So I take my experiences and my knowledge of the market and I share them with you so that you can become a more informed consumer when it comes time for you to call a new place home. So that's what we've got planned over the course of the next hour. Now, if you want to reach out to me, you want to have a discussion about buying a home or selling a home or investing in real estate, I'd welcome that opportunity. We'd love to earn your business. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or you're welcome to visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. And all kinds of cool stuff you can do on there. You can learn more about the market, learn more, of course, about myself, my team, who we are, what we do, what we've sold. Search the MLS, hear this radio show, find out how much your home is worth, and download some free guides if you're planning on buying or selling a home this year. So let's kind of get right into it. When is the best day and time for you to list your home for sale? There was a report that came out stating that there is a method to selling your home quickly and to selling it for top dollar. And since timing, of course, is everything, they've nailed down the best day and time to list your home for sale. So when is it? I'm not going to do one of those things where I tease you for 10 minutes. I'm just going to tell you. It's Thursday at 5 o'clock p.m. And so let me just read off some highlights from this report, which I want to dive into these next few minutes. The analysis that was done took a sample of 100,000 homes that sold in 2017, and it used Sunday, which is the worst day to list, which I, of course, agree with 100%, as a baseline. And then they just calculated the relative advantages for every other day. And so they say that homes that listed on a Thursday sold an average of 5 days faster than homes listed on a Sunday. And this report also stated that homes listed on a Thursday were more likely to sell in 90 to 180 days than those that were listed any other day of the week, which frankly I find to be a huge stretch, because now we're getting into marketing strategy and pricing strategy, the competency of the agent, demand and supply in the marketplace. And you can't blame listing on a Sunday for, a home not selling in 3 to 6 months. Not in this market, in my opinion. Now, the theory behind this, and let me kind of walk you through this as far as why you should list on Thursday afternoon. The theory is that, most people look at homes over the weekend, which is true. And so when do most people typically start planning their weekend? This report is using Thursday as that day, which I would tend to agree with. Someone like me who's kind of booked a few weeks in advance, and we've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. We've kind of got things going on for the next month or so. We're kind of booked a month out the majority of the time, especially with family visiting. But they're saying that Thursday is the day that people really plan for the weekend. And so this report also states that homes listed on a Thursday, on average, got 5 additional views compared to Sunday. And so here was another interesting piece of information, by the way, based on this analysis. They go on to say that homes listed on a Wednesday sold for a little over $2,000 more than homes listed on a Sunday. What do you think about that? I'm curious to hear some folks' opinion on this. Feel free to call my cell phone or shoot me a text, 843-345-1273. It won't be on air. I'm curious to know what people say, especially if people have sold their home successfully or are thinking of selling their home. I'd be curious to get your opinion on that. But do you really think that the day alone that you list is going to create value for you? Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about strategy here. There's no magical day of the week per se. In theory, if you list your home on a Wednesday or a Thursday, it does give you some time to do a few things. And that's why overall I agree with this. But if you list on a Wednesday or Thursday, which is what we do, it allows you to arrange for and market a massive open house, your first weekend on the market. And we do open houses big. And we actually have a 10-day marketing plan around our open houses. So there's a lot of stuff that we do to promote your home, which happens during our pre-marketing phase. And all of that's done before we even hit the MLS. There's a ton of stuff that we do before it's even publicly available. But it allows you some time to do that and to do it well. It also allows you some time, just thinking logistically, it gives you some time to put some print materials out there, put some flyers in the yard, some nicer flyers in the home. It just allows you to be a little bit more ready with those types of things. But then it allows you to stack a bunch of showings that weekend, assuming, of course, that it's marketed well, it's priced well, it's in condition, it's something that people want, and it's not a totally unique, specialized property. If you've got something incredibly rare, I wouldn't expect people to be knocking down your door that first weekend. But for the general public, kind of the average home, yes, absolutely. But I think that one of the big things that it allows for, which is probably what they're accounting for in this report, it doesn't say this, but this is my assumption just based on my own experience, is that it creates an opportunity for a multiple offer situation with all the offers being reviewed, say, Tuesday of the next week. Unless someone makes you an offer that you just can't refuse, then you kind of want to just buy yourself a little bit of time. If, in fact, you have a ton of showings that weekend, you're getting positive feedback, people saying they're interested, give me a day to think about it, and I'll get back to you. You might want to buy yourself a little bit of time. But again, it's not necessarily the day of the week. It's the entire marketing strategy that is going to help create urgency among buyers. That's really the key here. And for us and our team, that starts well before the day it's actually listed for sale in the MLS. My team is very passionate about our online marketing experience for our customers. Before I get into, all of that, before I get into real estate, I'll just say this. Before I got into real estate 12 years ago, I was Entrepreneur of the Year for creating a real estate-based online marketing company, which provided me with a very clear advantage as I kind of entered real estate sales, because I not only know how to generate massive amounts of online traffic for my properties, but I also understand the process and the systems and the skills necessary to convert an online shopper, meaning someone that's just looking at your home online, into an actual consumer, someone that wants to view your home and buy your home. So, they talk about getting 5 more online views if you list on a Thursday versus a Sunday. For any property we sell, unless it's truly unique and highly specialized, we're generating over 1,000 public views per property per week. I don't say that to both. I say that because, although this report is helpful and I do agree with the strategy of listing later in the week, it's the marketing plan as a whole that's going to help you sell your home quickly and for more money. As an example, most agents kind of focus on a few different things to market a home for sale. They put it in the MLS, they might do an open house, maybe they reach out to their database, they talk to some other agents, they put it on Facebook. That's really about it. And then they just wait for other agents to show the property. And we've worked really hard this year to offer things to our clients that really just set us way apart, because we've always felt very passionately about our marketing plan and in offering things that other agents just don't or can't. And so, on my team, we have literally over 50 individual marketing campaigns running at the same time when you list your home with us. So, if you'd like to learn more about how our specific program works for selling homes, we have a median days on market right now of 19 days. Our listings are selling for 98% of our asking price, and we really do guarantee our results. We truly believe that we offer the very best when it comes to online marketing as well as customer service. And then you're backed by a team that's got 1,000 transactions underneath their belt and $500,000 in real estate. But the point here is you can look at reports like this, and it's very helpful, and it's cool to know those kinds of things, because I get that question asked very often. When should we list? And we outline the strategy, but it is a drop in the bucket compared to everything that needs to happen behind the scenes and all the preparation that you need to do in order to create this perception that you're going to sell in a few days with multiple offers. You list it on a Thursday and you're reviewing 5 contracts on a Tuesday. Obviously, it doesn't always happen like that. Yes, our market is strong. Yes, it happens. I can't tell you how many dozens and dozens and dozens of homes, probably over 100 at this point, that we have sold in like 2 days or 3 days or less. But it comes with a lot of planning. And so if you're thinking about selling your house, I encourage you to start that conversation sooner rather than later. Let's get a plan in place, and let's start doing things, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks before we're actually on the market. And I guarantee you it will cut down on a few things. Number one, the number of showings that you're going to need, because we've filled this pipeline of interested people. It's also going to cut down on your days on market, which is then going to help create urgency, because if we have all these people that are viewing your property at the same time or within a very short period of time, how does that make a buyer feel? Let's say that you're walking through a property and there's an agent waiting outside ready for you to leave. I mean, that creates some urgency, and that's done through effective planning and marketing, true marketing, not throwing it in the MLS, putting a sign in the yard, waiting for other agents to show it, but creating a very specific plan. So again, happy to share that with you. If you're thinking about selling, give me a call, 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the process of selling your home and buying another at the same time. We're going to talk about home sale contingencies and what you should know if you're selling your home and a buyer makes you an offer like this, and how you as a buyer can use this to your advantage to get into a home. All of that and more as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. Now, here's more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, folks. The conversation about real estate continues here on the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. We just talked about when the best time is to list your home for sale, and reports say that it is Thursday at 5 p.m. for a bunch of reasons why. And of course, if you're thinking about selling your home or buying a home, we'd love the opportunity to work with you. And so feel free to give me a call or text my cell phone. That number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. So let's talk about the process now of selling your home and buying another. You want to do it at the same time. And, obviously most people that want to sell their home and buy another just don't have the luxury of simply owning 2 homes at once. I mean, some do, but most don't. So when you decide to move out of the current home that you own and buy another, it's going to require a lot of finesse, especially from the agent that you've hired to assist you in that process. Now, I will just say I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud to say that throughout my career in selling real estate, 12 years of selling real estate here in Charleston, about 1,000 transactions, my team and we have never made someone homeless. I have been able to do that by contractually protecting my clients. And I am not an advocate of taking unnecessary risks. I advise against it. Now, you do have to realize, of course, that as unfortunate as this sounds and as unfortunate as it is to say, some agents just struggle with this process. I mean, in fact, there are a lot of agents out there that just struggle with writing a bulletproof contract in the first place without the added stress of selling a home and buying another one at the same time. The last thing you want to do is move into some sort of rental or, store your furniture and sleep in a moving van. I mean, there's all kinds of horror stories out there. And I'm glad to say that we've never had one of those. But, why can I say that confidently? I'm not boasting, but, last year we did about 200 transactions. This year, we're going to be kind of right around the same place. So I'm seeing contracts come in, once every other day. And what I see about 50% of the times is that these contracts need major changes in order for it to be not just beneficial for my client, but beneficial for both parties. I mean, a few shows ago, I mentioned that, one of the best and the worst parts about real estate is the fact that the contract has the ability to make it whatever you want it. It's got this contingency section, a place where an agent can literally write in whatever they want. And every once in a while, I'll get a contract that simply says something like, contingent upon the sale of buyer's home. And that's it. And that's the language. And that's all of it. That's it. Now, I'm going to dissect this in just a few minutes, but I want to say very quickly that the language that is written into your contract can make or break a sale, absolutely. And it can be the difference between you retaining the right to keep your earnest money or losing it, or worse, getting sued. I just see it happen way too often. So what do you need to know if you're going to buy a home contingent upon selling your home first? There's basically two different types of home sale contingencies out there. There is a sale and settlement contingency, and then there's just a settlement contingency. So let's talk about the sale and settlement contingency first. Really the name kind of implies it all, but a sale and settlement contingency is just dependent upon the buyer selling or putting their home under contract and then closing on it. This is a type of contingency that a lot of buyers use when they obviously haven't accepted an offer to purchase their current home yet. It's on the market, but it's not under contract. And in general, this type of contingency it allows the seller to continue to market the home to other potential buyers, with the stipulation, of course, that the buyer is going to be given an opportunity to remove this sale and settlement contingency, usually within a specified period of time, 24, 48 hours, if the seller receives another offer. So if the buyer needs to sell their home first in order to purchase their next property, and they can't buy the property without selling their home first, then we include something called a kickout clause. Now, a kickout clause very simply means that, let's say I'm representing a seller and we've got their home on the market and a buyer makes us an offer and the purchase is contingent upon them selling their home first. They can't buy my listing without selling their home first. Their home's listed for sale, but it's not yet under contract. So in those instances, we very commonly use something called a kickout clause, which just means, yes, the seller is going to accept your offer, and we understand that is contingent upon your home selling first. However, if another buyer makes us an offer and they don't have to sell their home first, then we're going to kick you out of this process, meaning we're going to take their contract, and since you can't buy our property without selling yours first, you will then move to a backup position. So the buyer understands that risk. They understand that, hey, we've got this property, it's under contract. Now we need to get a contract on our house so we can buy it. But if somebody else comes along and they don't have a home to sell, then, we're done. We don't have the ability to buy this house and still own our current home. So that's when, you sit down, you talk with your real estate agent, you come up with a very effective plan, and you identify things like, okay, if somebody makes us an offer and they have to sell their home first, what are some of the things that we need to know in order to feel good about taking that contract? Well, first of all, let's say it's listed for sale and it's been on the market for 3 months or 6 months or a year. We had a contract come in on one of our listings last week, and the property the buyers were trying to sell in order to purchase ours had been on the market in Chicago, I believe, for like 18 months. And so obviously we don't know anything about the market in Chicago. I reached out to a guy that does a lot of business out there, and I said, hey, just take a bird's eye view at this listing. Tell me what you think it's worth. Are they priced where they need to be? And he's like, no, man, this thing's like 15% overpriced. This is not going to sell. And so that in and of itself was enough evidence for us not to move forward with that buyer. But we need to know, are they priced well? How much time do they have to put their home under contract before we as a seller can say, you know what, you didn't get it done. You didn't sell your house. I'm putting my home back on the market. Now, if you sell your home, you're welcome to come back, but I don't want to diminish my ability to market this property because I'm tied into a contract with you. And there's some technical stuff we'll get to in just a minute as it relates to what happens when you accept one of these types of offers. But let's talk about just the settlement contingency for reasons. Those are a little easier. The settlement contingency is used if the buyer has already marketed his or her property and they already have a ratified contract in hand and a closing date on the calendar. Now, obviously, because this property isn't truly sold until the closing date, until people sign on the dotted line and the loan gets funded, it just protects the buyer. It really does. That's what it does. It protects the buyer if the sale falls through for some reason. So in most cases, this type of contingency, a settlement contingency, is going to prohibit the seller from accepting other offers on the property for a specified period of time at least. Because you have to think about it. This buyer's home's under contract. It's going to close. At least in their mind's eye, it's going to close. They have to move. And the last thing they want to do is put a contract on a property to purchase, and then 3 days before they're supposed to close on it, someone kicks them out of the process, and now they have nowhere to live. That's an example of how we protect our clients contractually. But let me just give you some considerations here for buyers. And then I'm going to switch gears. We're going to talk about considerations for sellers in just a bit, and then we'll get to the second half of the show. But if you're a buyer, here's some things for you to consider. And we're talking about the process of, selling your home first and then buying another. If you're just joining us, we're talking about home sale contingencies. And so, as I mentioned, most buyers have to sell their existing home to purchase a new one, especially when kind of trading up to a more expensive house. So a home sale contingency gives buyers the time they need to sell and settle before committing to a new home by avoiding owning two homes and making two mortgage payments at one time. So a home sale contingency can also make for a very seamless transaction. The buyer can sell their home and they can move into the home they're purchasing same day. And we do it all the time. It takes work, it takes conversations, and it takes a lot of understanding on the agent's part. But even though a home sale contingency kind of helps bring peace of mind to the buyer, it doesn't avoid other costs of home buying. And I want to make sure you guys are clear about this. Buyers are still going to have to spend money on things like a home inspection and appraisal fees. These expenses are not refunded if the deal were to fall through due to your property not selling on time. Now, the buyer will likely have to, pay more for the property. And this is an important point too. As a buyer, you're likely going to have to pay full market value if you're going to use a home sale contingency, because let's be honest, we're in a seller's market. You're basically asking the seller to gamble on your ability to sell your current home, and the seller is going to expect to be compensated in some way, shape, or form for that risk. And so I've seen this done several ways. I've seen that, you have a certain amount of time to put your home under contract, and if you don't, then I have the ability as a seller to put my home back on the market. Or you could say, okay, your home's listed for sale. I need you to agree to a series of price reductions over the course of the next 6 weeks. And if it's not under contract within 8 weeks, then we're done. Or I've seen it where, hey, we're going to accept your home sale contingency. However, if your property does not sell or a certain amount of time passes and then your home doesn't sell, and now we have been off the market waiting for you to sell your home for, a month, and we've wasted that time, especially this time of year, which is such an important time, then we're going to keep half your earnest money. There's a bunch of different ways you can skin the cat. And again, that's one of the really great things about real estate and the contracts we have is that we can kind of bend and mold it and shape it into what we want. But it's also very challenging because now you've got a bunch of agents out there thinking that they're attorneys and writing in all this ridiculous language that's totally ambiguous, that doesn't protect you, that has no deadlines, that has no repercussions. And it's a very dangerous game that a lot of these agents play. And a lot of it is just flat out ignorance. They just don't know. And that's just the truth. I'm not even going to apologize for that because I see way too many contracts that need massive amounts of correcting in order for my client to be able to accept it. Way too many of these contracts have ambiguous language. And when we start throwing into the mix the fact that they need to sell their home in order to buy another, that's when things get especially hairy. So again, the best thing that I can say is make sure you're working with a real estate agent that understands this process and has done it time and time and time and time again. I'm not talking about a few times. I'm talking about like dozens or hundreds of times because every time we do this, we protect our clients as best we can contractually. And as I mentioned, we've never made anybody homeless. But when you're working with a bunch of different variables outside of just a standard home sale or a standard home purchase, things will inevitably go sideways. It's how you prepare and how you react for that. That's what separates a really good agent from an agent that's just going to kind of figure it out along with you. They haven't had that experience yet. And you just need to ask yourself the question of whether you're willing to work with the agent as they're kind of figuring out how to get you through that process, or if you want to work with an agent that's done it multiple times. So stick around, because I want to talk about considerations for sellers if your home is on the market and someone makes you an offer contingent upon them having to sell their home first. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. And again, if you want to reach out to me, if this is something you're planning, you're thinking about the process of selling and then buying, or if you just want to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate, again, we'd love to earn your business. Feel free to give me a call or text me. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or visit my website and contact me that way. Do some research on myself and my team. Look around the website, listen to some radio shows in the past, search the MLS, find out how much your home is worth. We've got a great tool for that. A lot of free resources as well. Listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. And stick around, because we'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. I always like to take a little bit of time and just say thank you to those of you that listen to this program, that draw information from it that's useful, that's applicable to your everyday life. A lot of people listen to this show just to learn more about real estate. And I think the more educated you can become, if we all understand that real estate, by and large, is likely your most expensive asset. It's worth protecting. It's worth hiring somebody that can give you the best shot at selling it for the most money in the shortest amount of time, or helping you buy it at the best deal possible. And then, of course, we've got this big umbrella of experience and customer service, which is customer service is probably the biggest thing that's lacking in our industry. And it's not new. It's been around for a long time. And I've got a team of 16 folks, and that is our number one objective is to make sure that you are as well taken care of as possible. It's truly a white glove service approach to real estate. And it just means that we are available to spend more time with you, to answer your questions, to let you know what's going to happen before it happens, to craft a strategy that helps you accomplish your goals. I was just kind of thinking back, in the very beginning segment, I was saying that, our homes sell in 19 days and for 98% of asking price. That's not me boasting, but in reality, yes, that has something to do with our experience, but the numbers don't necessarily matter all that much, because, and here's why I say that. Yes, the numbers matter. It matters a lot more to the other real estate agents that try and compete for business with us, but what matters is your goal. If your goal is not to sell in 30 days or less, if your goal is to achieve the maximum price for your home and you're okay with that taking more time, then that's our goal too. Who cares about 19 days? Would it be nice if it sold sooner? Yes. Does it stand to reason that the sooner you sell it, potentially the more money you can get for it? Yes. But it takes an agent to just really understand what your goals are and how to craft a strategy based on those goals. That's what's going to help you feel good about the process and about working with that particular agent. And so I invite you to, talk to agents, learn more about what they do, how they take a consultative approach to accomplishing your goals. And if we can be that agent for you, we'd love the opportunity. 843-345-1273 is my cell phone. You can call or text at any time. 843-345-1273, or visit us online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. So let me continue this discussion about, you need to sell your home in order to buy another. Let's just flip that coin for a second. Let's talk about some considerations for sellers. First of all, a home sale contingency can be risky to sellers because there's no guarantee that the home is going to sell. I mean, even if the contract allows the seller to continue to market the property and to accept other offers, the house is going to be listed as active contingent in the MLS. Whenever we accept a contract, regardless of whether we have a kick-out clause and all these other contingencies, when we in Charleston accept a contract, we have to change the status in the MLS to active contingent, meaning there's a ratified contract on the property. It makes it less attractive to other potential buyers. So when other buyers are looking for a property to buy, most are going to kind of steer away from a property that's already under contract. They just don't want to waste their time and risk kind of falling in love with a property that they may never have a chance to buy. And, a lot of agents won't even search for properties that are under contract for that very reason. They don't want to waste their time either. And I've got a few ways around this. I've been doing this for long enough to figure out the loopholes and figure out how to help my clients the best. And, so I figured out a few ways around this. And in the marketing system that we use, I ensure that even if we go under contract with a home sale contingency, that the property is still marketed to buyers and agents to try and find us some backup options. Remember, your listing agent's job is to market your property for sale and to find interested buyers up until the day that everyone signs on the dotted line at the closing attorney's office. And a lot of agents out there just kind of stop once that home goes under contract. I think that's a big mistake. I think it's a huge disservice to sellers. So before we agree to a home sale contingency, the seller's real estate agent, there's certain things that you need to investigate about the potential buyer's current home. You need to determine, number one, is that home already on the market? If not, that's usually a red flag because it indicates that the potential buyer is just thinking about buying and they're really not, they haven't taken the necessary steps. They're just thinking about buying and selling at this point. Now they've seen your home and now they want to start the process. So that's a big red flag because that's going to slow you down. The other is that, is it listed at the current or correct price? Is the current listing price correct? Is it a price that is going to cause that home to sell? And I alluded to this in our last segment, but a real estate agent can prepare a CMA, a comparative market analysis, to make sure that that home is priced where it needs to be. Now, if I'm a listing agent and I'm representing a seller, someone makes me an offer and that buyer needs to sell their home first and they live here in Charleston, I'm going to get all the details that I can about that house because I want to run my own analysis to determine what is the 30-day price that would cause that home to sell. And if they're off that mark, my sellers need to know about that. I said the example of a guy being, overpriced like 10, 15% in a different market that I didn't know anything about, Chicago. Guy's moving from Chicago to Charleston. He wants to buy one of our listings. He made an offer. His home's been on the market for like a year and a half. It's overpriced. It just doesn't seem like that's the right thing to do, right? We wouldn't know that unless we researched that. Another thing you need to ask yourself is how long has this been on the market? If it's been on the market a long time, the house is probably priced too high. The showing procedure may be difficult for that listing. The current market could be a little dry or stale if it's not here in Charleston because the majority of Charleston's a seller's market. It's pretty hot. But those are the things you need to look at as well. And then, finally, what's the average days on market for a home in that area, in that neighborhood? If the average days on market is 30 days or so, you should expect for it to sell in around 30 days. But if they've been on the market for 90 days or more, the seller could be waiting a while for that buyer's home to sell. We need to have that discussion. We need to plan for that effectively. So having said all of that, a home sale contingency, it can be a good thing if the seller's property has been on the market for a while or if the buyer is willing to give you what you want. I mean, in many cases, I'd say that it's advisable to obviously limit the amount of time the buyer has to sell his or her own home. I'd say no more than 30 days on average, because it puts pressure on the buyer to lower their asking price and to make a sale while also preventing the seller from kind of losing too much time in the event that transaction doesn't happen. If they don't sell their home in order to buy your listing or your home and you've spent 60 days off market and now here we are going back on the market and it's July, that could have a significant impact on your ability to sell it again. Not to say that it won't sell again, but we're in a very hot time of year right now. I'm not necessarily advising against home sale contingencies when I represent my sellers. They just have to make sense. So the bottom line is that the home sale contingencies, yes, they protect the buyers who want to sell their home before buying another. And the exact details of any contingency has to be specified clearly in the real estate contract, which is where a really seasoned professional is going to walk you through that process, protect your best interests, rather than just kind of focusing on getting another closing under their belt and moving on to the next person. You can tell immediately when someone's not giving you the counsel you deserve. You can kind of smell the commission breath because they're not giving you the things that you should think about And if you're asking questions and they're answering them, great. But there's likely several questions you haven't even thought to ask because you haven't been through this process before. And if they're not going to cover that ground with you, then guess what? It's not only going to add stress later in the transaction, it's also going to cause you to potentially make some errors along the way. Maybe you go out and you put a deposit down on a home for you to move into, and it was way too premature for you to do that, and now that deposit's non-refundable, or you only get half of it back, or maybe you start packing up your home and their home hasn't sold yet. I mean, there are so many different things that can go wrong throughout this process. And I am very proud to say that we have never had a situation in the 1,000 transactions or so that we've done where somebody was homeless, where they were left holding the bag. They've moved out of their house, all their furniture is out, they're looking to move somewhere else, and then a day before closing, the buyer can't get the deal done. That just comes with planning. It comes with experience. And if that's something I can help you with, if you really are thinking about going through this process, please, please, please have a discussion with an agent that you trust. And if you don't have a really preferred agent that's doing a bunch of business, feel free to contact me. We'd love to earn your business. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Now, when we come back for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show, we're going to talk about the current state of the real estate market, not just here locally, but I'm going to give you some national perspective as well. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on The Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
1250 WTMA.
Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back to the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. Again, if you want to reach out to me, if anything that I say has struck a chord and you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we'd love the opportunity to speak with you off air, learn more about your goals, and see how we can help. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. That's my cell phone. You can call or text that, and of course, you'll be off air. We'll have a private conversation. Or you can visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. So these last few minutes here, I want to give you guys kind of a 10,000-foot view of our current market, let you guys know what's going on. I want to talk more specifically about Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester County, and then I want to give you some national perspective as well. So if you look at just the market in general here, the same things are going on that have been happening for years now. Very low inventory, a lot of demand among buyers. We're still seeing, kind of a struggle to put new listings on the market. We have seen kind of a more long, if we spread it out over a few months, we have seen a little bit of a resurgence in the percentage increase of new listings hit the market, but it's very, very small. In fact, if you really analyze things, the overall month's supply of inventory is still going down because we're actually buying more properties this year, or we're putting properties under contract at a faster pace and at more volume than we did year to date last year. So buyers continue to kind of struggle in this market. It really, really matters to buyers that are in this market right now to be working with an agent that can give them quick access to properties. So many agents out there just kind of setting them up on an MLS search and saying, okay, you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath house between $250,000 and $300,000 in, James Island. And as soon as something hits the market, the system will automatically email you and you just tell me what you like. And when you want to go see something, we'll go see it. And it's a totally reactive approach to selling real estate that does not work very well at all for buyers. Think about all the properties out there. If you've bought a home over the past year or two that you saw and were like, oh man, I really like that house, and it's already under contract. You missed it. You missed the boat. So speed to the lead is something that I preach on my team when I'm coaching the 16 people on my team. And it of course reigns true with regard to buyers looking to purchase a home. You've got to get out there first. And a really good agent is going to help you do that. Not to be pushy, but the agents that really understand what you're looking for and then can proactively say, hey, I'm calling around. I just learned about a listing that's hitting the market in the next 2 days. It's not actively on the MLS. It's not public knowledge. If you're interested in this property, I can get you in there. Let's go take a look at it. It fits all your needs. It checks all your boxes. That's just, kind of an off the cuff example of what these buyer agents should be doing for their clients in this market because it is true. Properties are selling fast. And so if you look at some of these kind of broader stats for the Charleston area, we really haven't seen much of an increase at all in new listings that have hit the market. In fact, we've put 100 more properties on the market at the end of April than we did year-to-date last year. But if you look at what's going under contract, we've put 400 more homes under contract compared to this same amount of time last year. Closings, we've had about 150 more closings at the end of April compared to the same amount of time last year. Not a huge change there, but what is changing, of course, because inventory continues to reduce, is pricing. The median sales price is up 6.5% market-wide. If you look at days on market is down. We're at 59 days right now. In April, it was 55. But year-to-date, we're down about 5% in that area. But what I really want to focus on for a few minutes here is inventory of homes for sale and month supply of inventory. Excluding January of this year, which, and just kind of explain this to you guys, we always see a huge reduction of listings in January because so many listing agreements that are written between listing agents and sellers expire at the end of the year. So January 1st, we always see this massive amount of properties kind of disappear from the market. It's because that's the way most agents write their contracts. A lot of them end up coming back on the market. A lot of them just say, you know what? We've been on the market for 6 months, 12 months. It didn't happen. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to reassess. And I know there are probably some people listening that are in that same boat right now. They're trying to time the market, so to speak. So the market is getting more favorable for sellers. It's getting challenging yet again for buyers as we approach the summer market here. And if you look at the inventory of available homes for sale, at the end of April, we had 5,176 homes available. This time last year, we had almost 5,900. And if you look at the availability of homes, we basically, if you look at this April, this is the least amount of real estate we have had available for sale in over 12 years. Probably a little longer than that. Same thing with month supply of inventory. We're at about 3.3 months worth of inventory. Meaning if nothing else hits the market in about 3 months, everything would be sold out. That's how fast things are selling. Rewind 8 years ago, and it was well over a year. Some areas were 18, 24, 36 months worth of supply of inventory. And so I want to just kind of break that down a little bit. Let me first just kind of read off some of these county stats because I know you guys like listening to this. And let me just say first that if you want specific information on your area, your neighborhood, the value of your home, regardless of whether you're thinking about selling right now or not, number one, I have a great valuation tool on my website, listingsincharleston.com. If you just go there, it'll tell you what your home is worth. And we've got some really cool back-end stuff that cross-references that with the MLS and with Zillow and with a few other things. So it tends to be more accurate than what you're going to get through a Zestimate. I'll just say it that way. Or if you want to just start this planning process, give me a call, 843-345-1273. I had a guy that called me. He's 2 years away from selling his house, but he wants to better understand the market now so that both he and I can monitor it and then kind of gauge when might be a good time to sell 18 months, 24 months down the road. What can he do over the course of time so that he doesn't feel rushed, so he can kind of shop the contractors to maybe fix the house up a little bit over time and not have to pay exorbitant prices because contractors are busy. And if you need it in a rush, then guess what? You're going to have to pay a premium for that. But anyways, let's get into these stats. So Berkeley County, and I'm just going to read off the single family stats. Year to date, new listings are up 3.5%. Closings are up 1%. The median sales price is up 4.6%. Days on market is staying right around the same. We're at 48 days, and you're going to sell your home for about 98% of your asking price. In Dorchester County, new listings are actually down about 1%. Closings have remained almost exactly the same compared to the same amount of time in 2017. Median sales price is up 4.5%. You're getting close to 98% for your asking price, and the days on market is at 49. Inventory is down 6%, by the way. If you look at inventory in Berkeley County, they're down almost 10%. Now, Charleston County, we've had about a 1% increase in new listings. Closings are up almost 4%. The median sales price is up 7%. Properties are selling for 96% of their asking price in 62 days, and our inventory is down almost 12%. We have 300 less homes available to choose from in Charleston County compared to April of last year. And so let me talk about something that I don't talk about too often on this program, and that's the Housing Affordability Index. And so the housing affordability, and understanding it is fairly simple. The number represents the median household income as a percentage of what's necessary to qualify for a median-priced home in that area. I think I'll say that one more time. So let's just say an index of 120 means that the median household income is 120% of what is necessary to qualify for a median-priced home in that area. So the lower the number, obviously, the less affordable homes are becoming. And so if you look at, say, May of 2017, we were at 108. If you look at May of 2016, we were at 123. April of last month, we were at 104. So affordability obviously is going down, which is a function of increased pricing, increased interest rates. And if you compare that to the National Housing Affordability Index, if you look at 2017 nationally, the Housing Affordability Index is 157. So yes, our market is more expensive, quite a bit more expensive than the majority of the country. And there's actually a first-time home buyer affordability index, and they're saying that 2017, they're at 103. So they're hardly qualifying for properties. And that's with 10% down, and not a lot of folks out there have 10% down, nor do you need it. There are plenty of first-time home buyer programs out there for just 1% down. And if we can get the seller to pay the closing costs, then you can buy a $200,000 house for about $2,000. So there's a bunch of different options for you out there. But the bottom line is it's still very much so a seller's market. It favors the sellers. If you're thinking about selling or buying, feel free to reach out to me and we'll help navigate this process for you. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273, or go to listingsincharleston.com. And you guys enjoy your Mother's Day weekend. And thanks for listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. 843-345-1273.